to see a 4-year-old child in jail with me at
Yes.
2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm embarrassed, I'm insulted, I'm outraged, and I look at him and I hold him like I was holding a child of mine, and I say, why are you here? And he said, Tatum. He couldn't even say freedom. And to see them hoses and see a white nun pass by you from the strength of that hose, and to see a white priest and an old black minister and an old woman and a young person, and that's what you saw on TV.
Mm-hmm.
What you didn't see was the line kept moving.
Mm-hmm.
The line kept moving, saying we shall overcome.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you part of. And that's what transformed me into the creature that I am.
But I must interject something.
Yes.
Because I know, because I knew you casually
Sure.
during that time, during the 60s after I married Bill, that you gave up a lot of lucrative income to go off to
Sure.
participate
Yes.
in the movement. So your commitment has been very deep and very real.
Yes.
And despite the fact that you were imprisoned,
Yes.
despite the fact that you were beaten by racist cops, despite the fact that you saw babies in prison,
Yeah.
or even during that time lost your own infant
Yes,
son,
sir.
that you hung in there and you've been so passionate about it. Do you want to talk a little bit more
Yeah,
about that?
well, it was me who went in at the top of my career, seeing ordinary people is what blew me away. People that would never get their name mentioned, people that no one would ever say thanks to, that was there. People that didn't have nothing to lose or nothing to gain. I mean, I had something to lose. I didn't know it. And let me just set the record straight. If you could feel your hair grow, you'd probably go crazy. You don't feel it growing. And so it's the same way when I made it. I was from here to here, and no one said, this is what it's going to be like. And here's the chances. So nobody sit with me and say, if you get involved, your income is this, it's going to go to this. If you get involved, nobody. Hell, I didn't have an option. It was moving so fast. It just, I liked what I felt. And if that meant death, I mean, you know, there's something wrong with someone that's willing to commit their life, but then worry about their income. I mean, when I went to Mississippi, I thought I would be killed, but I went anyway. Now, when I die, income stops. But you never factor that in no more than when you're running up that hill for America. The adrenaline is flowing, and if your best partner is shot, you can't stop. There's medics that will pick your friend up. You got to keep going. And so my whole driving force, for instance, now that I've made it, I got to make sure that black folks is treated right in nightclubs. So I did two things in my contract. If you brought Dick Gregory into your club, if you advertised in the white press, if there was a black press within a 100-mile radius, you had to advertise in that or you violated my contract. What I wanted was black folks to know I was there. Now, I would come to town. Let's say if I came to Washington, D.C., and I went to a barber shop, and I introduced myself and told black folks who I was. And I said, I'd like to get about 3 black folks to give $500 to come to my show tonight. Don't let nobody know you know me. Just come in, and then tomorrow after church, because I wanted to come in on a weekend, let me meet with you to find out what the service was like. Did you feel they were sitting you? Did you feel like they treated you different? I did that in every city that I would go into to make sure. Some serious complaints, and then I dealt with that. But it was like I owe something to the movement. The movement don't owe anything to me.
Yes.
And I watched the woman I'm married to, a little fragile. She never smoked, never drank, never drove a car in her life. I watched her. I read about $600 worth of newspapers like every 10 days. And I watched her go from no newspapers to telling me things about.
Yes, not so fragile after all.
Yeah, you mean
Yes.
you don't know about so-and-so? I mean, where have you been? You know. And so it's just been, and then the substitute for that is the people I met. The Dorothy Hikes, Dolores Tucker, the Martin Luther King. You see, we've been knowing each other for a long time. So once you look me in my eye and I look in mine, that reflection is there. And so when I go around the world and look people in the eye, King is there, Malcolm's there, all of the joy of this movement is there. I wouldn't trade that off for nothing. I don't know back then if someone said you can't live like this. I don't know. I didn't know that I might have a Rolls Royce repossessed and my children would clap and laugh. I didn't know that I'd be put out of my house with worldwide television there. And I didn't care. I mean, there was such a joy inside of me from this movement, or to be an entertainer and work 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day on your skills. You deserve an audience. To be out here committed to this movement, you deserve respect. There's a big difference between 100,000 people being turned away and 10,000 people praying for you every hour because they heard you were sick. That would take your place if you had to go. And so the movement, if the government said we're going to draft 70-year men into the military, and if you don't go, the penalty is the electric chair, I wouldn't run to Canada. I would walk to the electric chair and say, if the price I have to pay to not kill another human being is death, I will accept it with a new fuse. This is what the movement have done. Has taken me from a cowboy mentality to whoever was on the top of the heap in the movie that week, to just being the ordinary God-force human being that God meant for all of us to be. But you can't be that because a culture pattern messes you up, a racist, sexist system messes you up. And it was this movement that helped me see past that.